This week's edition of NJBIA's Minding Your Business is brought to you in part by AT&T, helping family, friends, and neighbors connect in meaningful ways every day. From the first phone call 140 years ago to mobile video streaming today, AT&T innovates to improve lives. New Jersey's community colleges, aligning education to build an innovative workforce. Find out how your business can join and benefit at njpathways.org. And by New Jersey Business Magazine, providing the critical information needs for New Jersey's business community for more than 65 years.
Welcome to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm your host, Bob Considine. Well, it's a new legislative session and a new term for Governor Phil Murphy with a supposed commitment to bring more affordability to New Jersey. Here to discuss those prospects and other business issues here in the Garden State is NJBIA President and CEO, Michelle Sukirka. Michelle, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, so Michelle, before you came out here today, I took a look at the word affordability, the word origin of the word affordability. But I could not derive whether you were the original one to coin this phrase. But I do know you've been talking about it since you've been here at NJBIA. So, our legislators talking about it, our governor's talking about it. Why now?
Well, first of all, the economic times and the fact that our public is crying for a more affordable New Jersey. But frankly, we beat the drum for 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, I think people are trying to understand that there are ways that we can garner affordability in New Jersey by having true reform. Whether or not they have the ability to actually get it done and the political willness to get it done is something absolutely to be seen.
I was going to say, what will make it stick? Is there certain policies? What is it? Lowering taxes? What is affordability in New Jersey? What we would need?
Yeah, affordability is making the opportunity for any New Jersey resident to feel comfortable living here, day to day, that they can not be concerned about being able to pay the high cost of living, which includes the roof over your head. Renters, a kid graduating, I shouldn't say kid, a young adult graduating out of college, there's no way they can afford an apartment by themselves when apartments start at $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 for like 1,000 square feet.
Right.
Okay.
Per month.
Per month, yeah. And so you just think about that, our real estate market is doing incredibly well. We should be very happy about that. Anybody who's an owner, anybody who's a buyer, they're having to plop down $30,000 over asking price.
Yep.
Folks don't have that disposable income in their back pocket. Yeah. And now we have inflation on top of everything.
Right. So let's take it right to where the rubber hits the road, which is the policymakers, which will decide this stuff. I want to go back to a press conference NJBI held a few months ago. It was called Defining Affordability. And there were a couple bills that were discussed in that press conference that did not make it to the finish line. One of them would have required New Jersey and other public entities to include labor harmony agreements as part of any retail or distribution center project. And then another one would have codified certain energy goals related to the Energy Master Plan of 2019. Both things could have cost New Jersey eventually, and they didn't make it to the finish line. Another
Thanks
one.
Thanks to NJBIA.
Yes, I was going to mention that. I mean, these are things that were really fought by NJBI, our government affairs team, but led by Chrissy Butis, really top priority issues that were held at the end of the lame duck. But then there were some other bills that did make it through and got signed. One established the New Jersey Insurance Fair Conduct Act, which in all likelihood will eventually raise auto insurance rates. And then another one, Michelle, would severely limit the ability of small businesses to bid on public works contracts by stifling their ability to meet apprenticeship program requirements, which in turn could make for more expensive public works projects,
absolutely,
thus raising taxes. So, long way of asking, Michelle, is it going to take more than an equal balance of good and bad business bills? Doesn't it have to be good here and bad down here for New Jersey to become more affordable?
Yeah, I just think that our policymakers that have their own definition of affordability, taking us back to the top of the discussion, their idea of affordability truly is let's make the companies continue to pay their fair share. Right. And our wealthy continue to pay their fair share, not just continue, but make sure that we're reaping every penny we can out of them. And, there comes a point in time that we have that concern then of, again, out-migration, which we continue to experience. When I talk about out-migration, I'm not talking about just the boots leaving, walking
this isn't
out
a
of the
moving
state.
vans thing.
No, this is money, hard cash leaving the state of New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And when that hard cash leaves from our wealthiest or our bigger corporations,
Right.
those are taxes we don't get. That's buying and spending we don't get, and
Right.
that impacts the economy. So to me, when I hear policymakers talk about affordability and the kitchen table, they're looking at the blue collar families saying, well, how do I just put more money in your pocket? And in their mind, they're saying, I put money in your pocket by taking it out of this pocket, not reforming the comprehensive way within which we operate our economy here in the state of New Jersey. And that's at the heart of what we need to do is comprehensive reform.
Right. Big kitchen table topic, property taxes. You mentioned it already. Highest in the nation, and it's the most immediate hit to residents in their wallets. We know property taxes are set at the municipal level. Governor Murphy said that during his State of the State address. Do you think policymakers can hold the line on property taxes or even lower them?
So the heart of property taxes is how we fund education in the
Right.
state of New Jersey,
Absolutely.
okay? And that continues to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
We keep going back, and the answer right now is, well, we'll just, we'll shift around. We need to go back and look at the formula. We need to go back to the days of true Abbott and recognize that many of those districts are no longer Abbott districts, and the ring districts are no longer ring districts, okay?
Yeah.
So we need a whole new look. Again, this is what we mean by comprehensive reform, not just going back and putting Band-Aids on things that we know not just are broken, but they're like dead. You can only bandage the wound so much before the poor victim dies. And we've got the victim dying, and that victim's our economy.
Yeah. Let's take it back to business a little bit. New Jersey is still the highest corporate tax rate in the nation, and businesses are going to see a $1 billion unemployment insurance tax over the next 3 years, $1 billion. Do you think lawmakers understand the plight of business, and will these things kind of weigh into their decisions going forward?
Yeah, I think the challenge has been that while we thank the Murphy administration for the money that he's put out, through federal dollars to small business, and he touts that it's about $1 billion, you just took it back.
Yeah.
You just took it back. So now you put business, pretty much at status quo, and at status quo, they're hurting, and they're hurting bad.
Yeah, and if you think about status quo, the reason they got that aid was because they were shut down.
Exactly.
So interesting. Also interesting. We're at interesting times. Inflation increases that we haven't seen in decades, and as well as still the hiring challenges we talked all about last year. How vulnerable are businesses right now? Still coming out of this pandemic, but now these things are still attached.
Yeah,
to
significantly. I mean, significantly vulnerable, and we see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a membership organization.
Yeah.
All right. When I get an email from a 30 or 40 year member who says, "Thank you so much for what you've done on our behalf throughout the tenure of my time at this company. I'm sorry to inform you, we can't renew because we're closing the business."
Right. Yeah.
We get those letters.
Yeah.
All right. Or because we're leaving the state. Okay. We get those letters every day, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Let's pivot to COVID a little bit here. New Jersey just went through a huge surge of COVID, I guess the Omicron, for about a month, 6 weeks. Yeah. Businesses were not shut down. Were you surprised by that?
No, actually I wasn't. All along, I had people pinging me every day going, "Michelle's the governor going to shut us down." I said, I got to be honest with you, I don't think he's going there. I don't think he's going. I think he has gotten to a place where he understands that closing down our economy is not the answer.
Right.
And we as individuals need to understand that we need to just behave responsibly, that we're here. Bob, we've said this for over a year. We've arrived in what is the new normal. This is it. If we can't transact business in this new normal, we've got a bigger problem, because there's going to be something behind Omicron. There's going to be something behind whatever's behind Omicron. There's going to be some disruption coming at us every minute. And if we can't, as a society, learn to live within this disruption, we're going to have bigger problems.
Okay. Just turning our attention federally a little bit. Last week, President Biden, his mandate for either a vaccine or test for businesses that employ more than 100 workers, that was rejected by the Supreme Court. Was that the right decision?
Absolutely.
How come?
We said all along, and employers told us that they need to own the decision based upon their workforce, their work environment, and the types of services they deliver and to who they deliver those services to. Okay. hiring crisis and all the challenges we just talked about for the last few minutes would only have been exacerbated if that were allowed to stand.
Right. So now Governor Murphy has instituted an executive order that basically removes a testing option for all healthcare workers, which I guess we can understand on its surface. But what kind of impact do you think that will have on healthcare? I mean, this is an area where people are struggling to get employees anyway. Right?
An extraordinary impact. Again, the hiring crisis is even more disproportionate when it comes to those vulnerable industries like healthcare, nursing homes, hospice, community health. I get it, right? I said in response to the Supreme Court decision that they kept it in for healthcare, I said, you can see the nexus in healthcare, but there's a testing option there. Okay, you take the testing option away. Look, guess what? People who haven't gone and gotten the vaccine yet, they're doing it for a philosophical reason that we're not going to overcome, right? And those are some of our healthcare workers. And now they are so overtaxed and burnt out at the front line without a workforce, coming up behind that can fill that so quickly. Now we're going to pull out people who could otherwise test and say, hey, I'm negative. And be able to work at the same time. I don't understand it because frankly, people who are vaxxed and boosted are testing positive. So you could be in those vulnerable industries, be vaxxed, be boosted, and be positive, but be allowed to work, but test negative and you're sent home. Yeah,
it doesn't make much sense. And then you think about even home health aides. Those are hard jobs to find, and that's going to be impacted as well.
And and that should be on the recipient of the service. If I'm receiving someone into my home every day to take care of me, I should have the right to say, I'm comfortable with you testing, or I don't even care if you're vaccinated, not come take care of me because I'm all boosted and I'm feeling comfortable, and just keep your mask on. Right? So the person receiving the service could make the call and say, no, if you're not vaxxed and boosted, I don't want you in my house, versus losing your job over it.
All right. Well, Michelle Sakirka, well said. We got a lot of issues ahead, but I know you were there to meet them head on. Thanks for being back on the show.
Thanks so much, Bob.
All right. And we will be back right after this NJBIA Business Alex Survey data point and a message from our sponsors.
Okay, at AT&T, everyone gets our best deals on all smartphones.
Let me break it down. You got your new customers.
They get our best deals.
You got your existing customers. They
Also get our best deals. Everyone gets the deals.
questions.
Got it. But why did you use a permanent marker?
Because I want to make sure you remember. I'm going to get a new whiteboard.
It's not complicated. Only AT&T gives everyone our best deals on every smartphone, like the Samsung Galaxy S21 5G for free.
Welcome back to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Consolan. Well, we recently had the opportunity to visit an NJBIA member doing some very important and very inclusive work. Hudson Community Enterprises in Jersey City has been offering employment opportunities to persons with disabilities for decades. We spoke to their president, Joseph Brown, about how Hudson Community Enterprises fulfills its mission while also meeting its margins. Have a look. So, Joe, how far back does Hudson Community Enterprises go?
The agency was founded about 65 years ago, and its purpose was really to provide job opportunities for people with disabilities, and it's still work that we really concentrate on today.
And how many employees are we talking about?
About 700 employees that work in our social enterprise businesses, and then another 300 people that we serve through our youth workforce development programs, as well as our job placement and counseling programs.
It's a huge number. How many of those folks would you say percentage-wise have some kind of...
80%.
80%. What kind of disabilities are we talking about?
Well, there's really a wide variety of disabilities. There's intellectual disabilities, there's physical disabilities. Physical disabilities are probably the ones that are most apparent to people. Mm-hmm. People in wheelchairs, people that use crutches. There's a wide variety of people with chronic conditions, such as sickle cell anemia, or very severe diabetes, or HIV. So we don't really specify just one kind of disability or specialize in one kind. We kind of use the approach that we're going to serve anybody that has any kind of a disability.
So pretty much runs the gamut.
It does, yeah.
How do these folks come to you? That's what I don't understand how this works.
Yeah, we work with the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, which is the state agency through the Department of Labor that provides referrals to us. Mm-hmm. But we do a lot of recruiting in the community. Often people that come to us as students then become our employees later on, or people find out for us through the regular social media networks that people employ to find jobs like this. But we advertise and recruit very heavily.
Okay. What level of support would you say somebody who comes in here needs? Is it some people can go right away, or some need some handholding, some other extra support?
Well, what's unique about this business, the social enterprise business, and also this agency, is that we have 2 tracks running. You have a management track, but you also have a social service track. So anyone that comes here that has a disability is assigned a rehab counselor.
Okay.
Yeah. And this rehab counselor is responsible for making sure that people succeed in the job that they choose to take with us, or in a job that we feel will be appropriate for them.
These rehab counselors, are these folks who've been here, possibly, or they
No,
come?
they're professionals that are trained and educated to work with people with disabilities in a workplace setting.
Got it. Do those counselors have support here too, like from management, from you guys?
Yeah, well, there's a whole structure of management. There's senior people that supervise them and provide them with supports, and then you have, what, for lack of a better word, you have the line workers that are assigned a caseload. That are here to work with people.
You know, we walked through here earlier, and I was really impressed by the amount of work that's being done here. What would you say? You know, NJBIA obviously advocates for a lot of workers people who are disabled to go to work, to have that opportunity. What would you say to an employer, based on your 10 years here, to kind of quell any reluctance they might have?
Well, I think the proof is in the pudding. We're a very, very successful business. And the 5 businesses that we have are all very successful. They all run in the black. They provide resources for this agency to be able to expand what we're doing. And it's great to have social enterprise businesses, but unless they're effective and they deliver to a customer the things that they need, we're not going to be in business. And the fact that we've been in business so long, providing such great services to our customers, is really the proof that we provide very, very excellent services to our customers.
Can you talk about what those 5 businesses
Sure.
are?
We have a scanning business, a shredding business, a building maintenance business, a print shop, and a packaging and fulfillment business.
Wow. So the print shop seems interesting. Is that, there's any kind of accreditation needed for that? Or?
Well, we have a digital print program that provides an industry-based credential to the people that come through the training for us. So we're able to provide training to people and to provide them with a certificate that means any place they go to work in any kind of a print shop, whether it's a retail print shop or a more advanced industrial print shop, they have the certification that they need that'll give them the seal of approval that they know that they've been trained by us.
That's great. I wonder what kind of value the workers feel here. Let's just take the digital public.
I think everybody identifies with work.
Okay.
What do you say at a cocktail party when you meet someone? What do you do? What do you do? So work becomes a very big part of our identity. Their work provides people with dignity, which often people with disabilities sometimes have a problem with that because their self-identity is wrapped around the fact that people have to do things for them, and this is something that they can do for themselves. And they get a paycheck doing it.
And did ever one of these folks who work here say to you, thank you, because now I realize I have a purpose or something like that? I don't know.
Well, people don't tend to say that, nor would I want them to say that, because that's what we're here for. That's what we're in business to do. And we don't want to create a paternalistic atmosphere. We want to create an atmosphere here where people feel valued because they're doing valuable work and they receive a paycheck to do it. And the work in itself is its own reward. We all know that. We all know that we feel rewarded when we've done a good job. And that's what we want people here to feel, that they feel rewards because they've done a good job. And they get plenty of feedback if they do a good job, and they get plenty of feedback if they do a bad job. Because if this work doesn't get done, the agency doesn't survive.
I wanted to transition to that, actually, just the business model of Hudson Community Enterprises. This is a nonprofit, correct?
Yes, it is.
But you are performing services for other people. It's a business. I think I read you say, if there's no margin, there's no mission. Did that come from you?
Yep.
So is it a hardship to run given whatever obstacles you
It's a hardship like any other business has a hardship. We have to continually recruit new customers. We need new customers. We have to work on keeping the customers that we have happy, satisfied.
Right.
We have to compensate people adequately. It's a very, very competitive market. When you can go to McDonald's and make $18 an hour, we would want to provide the same kind of compensation to our people.
Right.
And you have to be very price conscious because we're competing with a lot of other people in the industry that are not nonprofits.
Well, who are your customers? Are they businesses? Are they agencies?
It's really everybody. Probably the largest customer that we have is the state of New Jersey because we're able to benefit through the state set-aside program, which sets aside a certain amount of work that we can do for the state of New Jersey. So the state of New Jersey is a large customer, New Jersey Transit, but then there's a lot of private customers that we have, particularly in the packaging and fulfillment business and in the shredding business. There's a wide variety of customers there.
Well, how long has that set-aside program been in existence?
Probably about 30 years.
Wow. Yeah. Do we still have an issue, though, in terms of people willing to hire people with disabilities?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen the needle move at all?
I have been doing this for 40 years, and the needle has moved substantially.
Okay.
The reason the needle has moved substantially is because people's rights have been legislated. So the access to educational opportunities for people with disabilities was the first big step, and then the Americans with Disabilities Act that mandates that accommodations be made to people. Now, we want to work with businesses to make it easy for them to be able to hire people with disabilities. And most businesses accept the fact that they're able to do this, but there's a lot of reticence on their part because businesses need to do what we need to do. Every person needs to be productive. It used to be that businesses were able to hire disabled people, and maybe it was all right if this person was only producing 60 or 70% of what they were, what the average person was able to do. Now everybody has to produce 120.
Yeah. What of those 5 businesses that you've spoken about, which one tends to be the busiest? Or has it changed throughout the
Well, thank God, they're all busy. They're all busy. The work comes and goes, but thank God that we're able to maintain a good flow of work into each one of the businesses. So they're all thriving. Some are more profitable than others. Some we run because they're very mission driven in terms of the people we're serving. And there's a reason to do this, but the very successful businesses help subsidize the ones that are less successful.
So the people who use your service, are they aware that they're using employees who have disabilities?
They are, but it doesn't really mean anything to them unless they're getting good value for what we're doing. So I think that's always an ancillary benefit to any business. And quite frankly, I don't blame them.
Right. So Joe, you've been here, 10 years?
Yep.
What have you seen, like in closing as we wrap this up here, what have you seen in terms of people who are doing a job who maybe didn't have an opportunity for? What growth have you seen?
I think people blossom when they come and they feel that they have a purpose because work gives you a purpose. They feel that they have been productive. Here, we don't really concentrate on what people can't do. We concentrate on what people can do, and we're able to tailor the work so that there's a place here for everybody, that there's something that they can do, and there's a way for them to progress, for them to learn new skills. I think socialization is very, very important, especially at the workplace, especially for some people that might have been isolated because of their disability.
Right.
It's a very social place on break. But, and people make friendships here. And we've seen people able to advance within the organization and even outside of the organization, if that's what they'd like to do.
Yeah, that must make you feel great. And no, just walking through here, hello, Mr. Brown, how you doing? And what feeling?
Joe, Hello, Joe.
Hello. What feeling does that give you?
You know, the reason that I got into this business is because it's very rewarding. And what's most rewarding about this business is that you see the progress that people are making every day.
All right, some tremendous work being done there at Hudson Community Enterprises. You can learn more about them at hce.works. Next up, we go to Kate Conroy and her NJBIA Boots on the Ground segment with Vinny Civitella, where they talk about their latest podcast milestone and some great membership news. Take a look.
Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
And I'm Vinny Civitella.
And I'm back again coming at you from beautiful Edison, New Jersey, where my boots aren't so much on the ground as up in my closet because today we are remote.
But no matter where we are, we're always doing our best to make sure you have everything you need to do business better in New Jersey.
Because that's what we do. Speaking of which, the last time I was on the show, we were wrapping up the year, and now we are ramping up the year.
Very cute. So what's going on?
In addition to all the events coming up, both in person and virtual, I thought I'd take a minute to talk about a very special occasion, and that is the 100th episode of our podcast, Other People's Business. Your wife, Tara, gave birth to a baby the week we went live with our first episode, and now that baby is 4 years old, not a baby anymore.
Shout out to Chloe.
Massive shout out to Chloe and to Tara too, I think. And props to us. They said it wouldn't last.
Who said that?
Don't worry, I dealt with them.
Nice. But yeah, our 100th episode just came out and it features one of our favorite guests ever, Carrie Barrett, on overcoming your fears of public speaking.
That's right. We usually have 3 segments: icebreaker, getting to know you, and the game awful or awesome. For this episode, we skipped the game and really dug into Carrie's business because she specializes in helping people get and feel more comfortable on camera.
And we all know COVID forced that.
That's absolutely right. For better or worse, if you're not good at video, you are at a disadvantage in the world. So this episode is all about how to get better at it and public speaking in general.
It really was a fantastic conversation. So if you haven't listened to it yet, definitely check it out.
You really should. She's so full of great insight. The episode also marks a bit of a change for the format of the show going forward. So stay tuned because we've got some fun tricks up our sleeves to keep you entertained while learning more about all of our future guests.
Absolutely. You can find all of our episodes on the iTunes, Google Play, or even on YouTube if you're not the podcast subscriber type. So what else you got going on?
Well, I thought I'd take a stroll deeper into the membership department because we actually have a ton of discount programs available to the membership. So if you're not a member, think about what you're missing out on.
Lay it on me.
So here's the thing. NJBIA is the largest statewide business association in the country, representing approximately 1 million employees, or about 1/4 of New Jersey's workforce. Because we're so big, we've been able to go out into the marketplace and negotiate special pricing on stuff many businesses have to buy anyway.
Like what?
Like office supplies and credit card processing and payroll and shipping, travel, printing, technology. The list really goes on and on.
I had no idea.
That's not true.
You're totally right. I knew. But this is actually more robust than I even realized.
I think that's true for a lot of people. In fact, these items are really important because the even bigger money savers are the healthcare solution, the 401k benefit, and the 24/7 HR support.
24/7?
Yes. Think about it. You're a business owner, you work all hours, especially now. Say you have a problem and you finally have 5 minutes late one night. You can check the site and access a library of policy and law alerts, all of your HR forms, documents, templates, a handbook builder, extensive COVID-19 content, and so much more.
That's incredible.
I totally agree. And again, if you're an employer who wants to offer healthcare, but you're not totally sure you can afford it, you should check out the plan we have with American Member Trust. It's through Horizon, and there's a traditional plan and an HSA, so it's super affordable.
Amazing.
Same goes for the 401k solution. One of the perks is that because the overall plan doesn't audit, members of the program don't have to do an individual audit, which audits can run between $7,000 and $11,000. So it's a huge savings. The plan also handles the distribution of the administrative 550 forms, which is a huge lift off the HR person. So truly, if you're not a member, you're missing out. And if you are a member and haven't checked out these opportunities, you might be leaving money on the table.
So I'm going to assume if somebody wants to take advantage, njbia.org?
You know it. And I'm assuming you've put the link under our faces somewhere?
Of course.
Perfect. And that's all for me. Thanks for having me back, and I'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you and congratulations to Kate Conroy and Vinny Civitillo. And we thank you for joining us on NJBIA's Minding Your Business. We'll see you next time.